Hey there, Orlando here with another contemplation of the jinkies that are transiting us. So it's time for the 36th jinki with turbulence, humanity, and compassion as the shadow, gift, and siddhi, and the 6th jinki with conflict, diplomacy, and peace as, of course, shadow, gift, and siddhi. So we're in the last hours of these two jinkies, and I said, okay, it's time to record this contemplation. If you've followed me until now, you know that I do this in the last day or in the last days of the transit, and transit being like 5.5 days, almost 6 days. If you are into these jinkies or you have them in your profile, I think this contemplation may help you in your searches. So what came up with these two was the theme of torture in the shadow in that I spoke about with the 22nd and the 47th jinki. So I'm going to start with this because lots of people hate their humanity, and thus they torture themselves. And most of them ask why I was born in this realm of pain and suffering. And this kind of struggle is understandable because we haven't been learned, we haven't had great teachers that showed us how to open up, how to be vulnerable, how to be human. So most of us, we've been educated by society, and some of us by our parents, to be robots, to really have no feelings, no emotions, no humanity, or exaggerate them. And thus we are right now into a society of living robots. This is why I think statistics works very well. You ask 1,000 people and show how tens of millions will act. And the question is how many people can open consciously to another person? How many people can be vulnerable with another person? And this is why I think young people are really desperate to fall in love. Because through falling in love, they experience opening, they experience vulnerability, and they experience being human. And of course, they really love that. But that falling in love is temporarily, because if the person that falls in love doesn't know how to consciously open up and to be vulnerable, this vulnerability will go away in a few months, maybe. And we'll go back and of course, we'll revert to older habits that don't include vulnerability, opening up, and of course, being human, being imperfect. Because living robots want to be perfect and want to, live forever and do perfect things, have success, have results. And this isn't really satisfying for us on a very deep level. So we look for more success, for more things in the outside, and of course we suffer. So I'm going to use this word or this expression, living robot, to express how most of us people react and act in this world. And this living robot is a person that really doesn't know, and doesn't allow himself or herself to open up, to be vulnerable. to be imperfect, to be human, to accept and honor its humanity. And if that person doesn't do that, becomes like a living robot. And of course, the shadows that accompany this state when you deny your humanity, emotional turbulence and inner conflict, of course, outer conflict comes. So these two shadows are, for me, the shadows that come up in a person that doesn't really honor its own humanity. This living robot understands intuitively that there is more than success or outer results, and really knows inside that there is this potential to feel, to be joyful, to to cry. But this intuition really is in conflict with his or her conditioning, her patterns, her behavior. And this is, from this inner conflict comes, the emotional turbulence that most of us have. And this emotional turbulence goes into being, behavioral turbulence or personality, turbulence. And psychologists, and psychiatrists, say that you have a personality disorder or a behavior disorder. And for me, these disorders come up from this inner conflict, the native genius, we know that it's there, and our conditioning. And when we don't know how to handle this two, and we're just broken, we're separated, we feel separated inside. And from this comes, at first, behavioral disorders, and after that, personality disorders. Because why would a child, because children and adolescents develop these behavioral disorders. It is because of how well that child adapted. Yeah. Or it is because of this inner conflict and the pressure from the outside to be in a certain way, to be a living robot. I feel that we really should contemplate that humanity is a gift, and it's the gift of the 36th Jinki. And as all gifts, there is something needed to activate it. And to activate the gift of humanity, we really must be prepared to alchemize our emotional turbulence and others' emotional turbulence. And if we are learned, and what means to be learned at an early age to handle this, means to be taught to be a strong individual, to collaborate with other people, to be a balanced individual. Because the people that can't really handle, this emotional turbulence, they just crack inside. And there are lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of people that really don't know how to handle everyday life. We're in a time of crisis right now in the world. And, we can see that people are very frightened, and few really can handle this situation with ease. Most of the people are really into fight or flight right now. Yeah. So To exemplify this, to give an example, I want to ask you, if you had in front of you, if you ever had in front of you a depressed person that says, I don't know if I want to live anymore, and did you observe, if you talked to that person, that depressed person, it was like talking with a brick wall. There was no connection. You tried to say something, and that person was, it was in defense mode. And I'm bringing this up because the 6 Gene Key, the 36 Gene Keys programming partner in the shadow, of course in the GIF part, but there is an alchemized version. The 6 Gene Key is about defense and how we handle defense. So when we put ourselves in this cocoon, and we don't want to give and we don't want to receive. This exaggerated defense is because we don't know how to handle things. We don't know how to handle, emotional turbulence. We don't know how to handle our emotional turbulence, and we just give up. Give up to our defenses, and from this state is really nasty. It's nasty for the person that is in that state, and it's nasty for the people that are in the vicinity. And there is no happy end to this, because if that person stays in that situation, people will suffer, and if that person decides to not live anymore, people of course will suffer. So the only human thing to do in that situation is really to learn how to open up again. So I'm speaking from the standpoint of a person that was in situations when I didn't want to open up. Not like that, but I had in the past relationships with women that were in that situation. And it's really tragic if we don't learn how to open up, and we all can learn how to open up, but for that we have to make this first step. The person that is in that state, that defense state, says, I want to see other people opening up so I can open up, and other people open up, but that person, because of those defenses, can't really perceive that other people opened up. So the first step is ours always. When we're in that situation, it is our responsibility as a human being to open up, because to be a human is about giving and receiving. It's about flux. It's not about building walls, because in that building walls scenario, disease comes up, because something will get blocked in the mind, in the body, everywhere. So this is why I feel that we're having many problems in the cardiovascular system. Of course, the environment has a role. Of course, viruses have roles, bacteria, and stuff like that. But I feel that one of the most important, things that put us in this situation to be sick in the cardiovascular system is this building walls. Is not loving anymore, because loving is about giving and receiving. And when one person is in this situation that I don't want to give anymore, because I don't want to suffer, because I gave in the past and I received nothing. And this is not the truth. This is not being sincere, because we always received, but we didn't want it. Because life doesn't really work like this all the time. I give to one person, I receive back from that person. I give to one person, maybe I receive from 10 other people. That, because if we don't open, if we aren't open, we really miss opportunities that life gives us, and gives us because this flow, because of this giving and receiving. And we give and we feel that we don't receive nothing, but we receive. We just aren't open enough to receive from other sources. It's not necessary to receive from from one. And when one person say, "Hey, I gave and I didn't receive anything," come on, it's it's the laws of this reality. It's causality. It's cause and effect. You put a cause, you receive back an effect. When one person says, "I gave and I didn't receive anything, this is why I have these walls around me," it's really going against the laws of this universe, and of course the law of causality. Because when we open up, we really feel this causality, and we feel the synchronicities in life, and we feel that, hey, if I am good, other people are good with me. If I am bad, other people are bad with me. If I try to be perfect, other people will try to be perfect with me, and we all suffer. Because the 36th gene key is about humanity, and sometimes it's overwhelming to be a human. And I feel it's overwhelming to be a human when we try to resolve our challenges by ourselves, and we don't accept help from the outside, and we can't perceive the help that we receive from the outside, and we go at it alone. Because humans are built to function in a tribe. This is why the 6th gene key is a tribal gene key. The 36th gene key is a collective. It's abstract collective gene key. It's about human experience. And the 6th gene key is about tribal defense systems. This is why the gift is diplomacy. When we can let our walls down, and we can create bonds with other people, and thus peace, the CD, arises. And of course compassion, because we really understand other humans that are imperfect. And when we function as a tribe, when we function as a community, and we resolve problems that arise together, those problems are easier to handle, easier to solve. But if we try at it alone, we suffer. So I feel the way we built our society, it's like a way, sure way, to internal conflict and of course external conflict, and of course the turbulence side. Because if we promote individual success, and we feel and we think that individual success is better than success as a whole, as a community, this is how we create a society where humans are in competition with other humans, and we don't teach humans to collaborate. And if we don't teach humans to collaborate, then humans will go down. Because if we don't collaborate as a whole, something will come up. Now is this virus thing, and maybe in the future be another challenge. If you don't know how to collaborate, and there are countries in this world, and there are lots of countries that has really, huge walls built. If those countries don't learn how to collaborate, we're all doomed. Or if most of the countries don't learn how to collaborate, we're all doomed. But of course, the city of compassion tells us how to handle these countries, because if we hate them, we're just going into conflict. So what we can do is really be compassionate and really be diplomatic towards them. They are really hurt as a community, and they show us a piece of ourselves. Every country, I feel, shows us a part of ourselves, like this West versus East, as West is more material and East is more spiritual, as a general speaking, shows us parts in ourselves. So the Chinese people show us a part of ourselves, the Germans, another part of ourselves. Here in Romania, we have another part, and I feel this is a compassionate way how to look at situations. So I'm going to give you a question that may help you to be more compassionate to yourself and to others. And it's like this: what kind of diplomacy I use in my relationship? Because there are two kinds of diplomacies. There is diplomacy that comes from the mind, and only from the mind, that has goals. I have to make peace with that tribe because but this is like a must situation. It's mental. And the second type of diplomacy is from integration. Is from, I really feel I should make peace with this aspect of myself that is this other tribe or this other person. Because if we look to our relationships, like our partners, that sometimes we hate, because we're humans. We aren't really hating them, just hate that comes through our system, because we're down sometimes. And if we look to our partners, and we really feel that our partners are parts of ourselves, are aspects of ourselves, of course we'll forgive ourselves, we'll forgive them, we'll be human, and we'll love each other. And I feel this is a way to love, to ask what kind of diplomacy I'm using into my relationship. Because if we're using just mental diplomacy, we see this in some marriages, when the husband and wife are diplomatic, mentally, not feeling. Just, hey, we are husband and wife. We should act that like we're good one with another, because of children, of society, or neighbors and stuff like that. And that relationship is doomed. That relationship is just there will be so much internal and external conflict and turbulence that so we have to make the first step and to really see other people like aspects of ourselves. So I'm going to give you another recommendation: to perceive your life, and of course my life, any life, as a journey of the hero or the heroine, as a hero's journey. Because if we perceive life like this, we really know that the challenges that arise are made for us. And if we have those challenges and we collaborate with other people, we link to other people, we link to our tribe and say, hey, we have this challenge. I'm having this challenge, you're having this challenge, yeah. You're having okay, let's resolve this. And if we learn how to make allies, this is very important. To be human means to have allies. This is why the diplomacy is the gift of the 6th jinki that is linked to the 36th jinki. We need diplomacy to be human. We need other people. We need allies. And if we have these allies, challenges will be solved much easier. So look at life as we are the hero of our life, and look for allies. And stop trying to resolve things on our own and saying like, nobody will help me. This is bullshit. This is the victim state. This is the victim that doesn't want to die. Metaphorically, of course. The victim role that says, hey, nobody will help you, because the victim whispers in your ear, nobody will help you, because the victim wants to live in your system and it's lying to you. Life gives you opportunities to be helped in your challenges. You really have to open up and to receive that help. Yeah, and this is why it's so important to forgive yourself and forgive others, and to look at other people humanly with compassion. Even because if we look at what happens in our relationships, and we start to hate, and we identify with that hate, then we're just going to build walls. And in our society, there is so much drama about what happens, like, hey, that person cheated on me. I want people I want someone to trust, and these are all, are lies that we tell ourselves, because if one person isn't trustful with you, that person is an aspect of yourself, and you might ask yourself, well, I'm not trusting myself. And if one person cheats on you, lies you, you may want to ask yourself, where am I lying? Myself. We're all aspects of each other. If we see this, and we see this, we perceive this only when we open up, we're saved. Our humanity is saved. Yeah, because humanity is an imperfection, and being imperfect is what links us, people. When I say, hey, I'm a human, I screw up. When do you screw up? Yes, I screw up. Excellent. This screwing up is what links us. And screwing up, for me, means that we have the courage to experience life. And all we have to do is to be conscious, because if we are not conscious and we experience life, we'll repeat the same experiences, and we won't really learn anything. But if we become conscious, if we become self-aware, when we go through an experience, we're starting to learn, and we'll need less experiences in this way, And this is why, being human is so important, and to permit ourselves to be human, and to permit other people to be human. It is incredibly important, this step. We have to release ourselves. We have to not treat us like we are some robot slaves, because some marriages, relationships are like in a slave and slave owner situation, or hostage and the terrorist or something like that. And we have to stop this, and we have to permit ourselves to experience life, even if it means to screw up. It's screwing up, and being conscious is very important. It's very important, because this is how we are. We experience life, and then we learn life. Being human means the 36 Gene Key for me. Being human is for me the Gene Key that makes us learn what means to be a human, and to really enjoy being a human, with all its perks and of course all its downfalls. So I invite you to be human. I invite you to have this courage to live life and be conscious, and of course be compassionate with other people when you do this. Have your own good in your heart, and of course the others, but you really can't you can't stop your life because of other people, and you feel other people will suffer if I live my life. Like children that say, if I do this, my parents will suffer. If I play in a rock band or something, my parents will suffer because my parents, but I don't like rock bands and think they are from the devil or something. But if we really feel to do this, maybe it's the lesson, of course, for those parents, and for them to open up more and to put down this wall. So maybe if that child will go into the rock band and it goes with being open-hearted about this, maybe those parents will learn how to open up and say, hey, you're right, I'm sorry. Maybe we'll open up in 10 years from that. But being human creates more humans in our vicinity. Now, if we are fearful that if I'm living my life on my own terms, I don't know, maybe I'll make other people suffer. No, you'll make living robots suffer, and living robots will suffer even if you do or don't do something. Those parents that they will suffer when they see rock bands or something like if one person wants to suffer, will have and will search for reasons to suffer. So our responsibility to ourselves is to be human and to be compassionate with ourselves and to others, and live our life, and not do things in spite of other people, but do things because we are human and we are learning what it means to be human, and doing this open-hearted. This is my message about these two jinkies. Hope it helps you, and I'll see you next week with another contemplation of the jinkies that are transiting us. And if you are watching this, you may be watching this on YouTube. If you like this kind of videos, you may subscribe, like, and do whatever YouTube people do. Yeah. See you. Bye-bye.